Welcome back to another episode of Custom Jewelry Engraving with the XTool F1 Ultra. Today, I'm going to show you how to capture handwriting, download it, and then engrave on a pendant. If you're at an event, you can have an iPad or use the mouse pad on your laptop. In this case, I'm going to be using my cell phone. And there are many different types of sketching software. The app I'm using is Whiteboard, and I'm going to be using it on my cell phone. Okay, so I've opened up Whiteboard, and basically I'm going to write. There we go. I am going to airdrop it. I am just going to name this baby bird. And we are going to be engraving on a sterling silver 11mm pendant. First order of business is I am going to have this there, and I am going to focus the laser head. Make sure that the red and blue dots are overlapped. It's an auto measure. Okay, it says that it's successful. I don't see it completely overlapping, and I know that it is not 2.3mm high. We're just gonna let it go for now, and then we will test it out. I'm gonna import baby bird. I'm just gonna scale down. I have another video that talks about that. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to export it as an SVG file so I can save it for later, because I can actually do this, trace on the spot if I wanted to. Now I'm going to import my SVG file. I'm going to delete the old one. And now I'm going to edit, trace, and I'm going to save that. I'm going to delete the old SVG file. So now I have the outline vector. If I was to engrave a long bar, this would be perfect, but I've decided that actually I want something circular. So I need those to be broken up and moved. Unfortunately, this is not doing it automatically. And in another video, I explained that a little bit more. What I can do easily is I click on it. You see this up top, press on that, and you'll see that different things light up, and you can edit and break it up. So I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see it. And what I'm gonna do is hold down on my mouse pad and drag, and I'm going to grab that. And now it breaks up and I can move things along. And I want to make this bigger and smaller. So now I've moved it, and here is what I've got. And I think I'm happy with that. So now what I'm gonna do is add my piece. And I'm going to move it to the corner, only at the beginning, because I wanna see where the hole is. With this, it's hard to see. I am going to click on it, right mouse click, and I'm going to turn it yellow and engrave, and I can see that more clearly. I think that's a lot of writing. And what I'm gonna do is shrink it. I'm not gonna make any changes. If, say, for example, I didn't like it, you can do that and edit, release compounds, and also there are vectors that you can edit to have minor changes. But I think I am happy with that, and I might make it slightly smaller. If you can, have the outline of the pendant that you are going to engrave, as in other videos. I find that if you want to have exact placement, especially dealing with something that is this small, to frame the outline of your piece and then also frame the inside, hover over on top. This way, with the outlines, you can see it more clearly. So that is actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a circle. It's not really a circle. You can drag it. What I'm going to do is unlock it and change it to 11. So now I have a perfect circle. I'm going to move it on top approximately. Now I want to frame it, but I want to make sure I'm framing the right thing. So I click on that. You can get out, and you see there are two layers. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to make sure the output is good. I'm going to select the other one, and I'm going to close it so that I'm not seeing that on my screen. What I'm going to do is I am going to frame the outline. I'm going to drop it down here, outline. I'm going to frame. And now I can see that, in fact, it is slightly off center. So that's another thing to remember. What is on screen is not reflective. Framing is something that you can trust. What I can do now is I can manually move it and frame again. and see how that works. If you're not getting the results you want, it is much better just to fine tune it. I'm going to increase, so you can adjust it on the axes. I think that's good. Another tip, sometimes it's really hard to tell when your line is exactly the same. I make it slightly smaller so that it's projected on top of your piece, and I see from the margin whether or not it is off center. So try that and see how that works. Now, I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna move it back. You see, when you hover over, now it's center. You see the hairlines? In this case, the B is very heavy. I don't know whether or not I want to make it lower or maybe smaller, and then I will adjust. Because there's so many little lines, I find that in this case, inside a small piece, the perimeter, it is a lot more useful to have a square framing. But I'm going to show you what it looks like as an outline. Let me just close this output for the circle and then turn this one on. And we are going to frame it. It's whizzing all over the place and it's hard for me to tell. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do the rectangle to see if I like that. So Y is up and down. Lower it is, the higher the number, which is kind of counterintuitive for me. But what I'm going to just do is you just click outside of it and it adjusts. Now I'm going to frame again. Okay, I quite like that. We're ready to engrave. Before engraving, just in case, for the outline, always turn the output off, so we're not engraving it by accident. Now, I'm gonna go to this vector. A few things. This is sterling silver. Sometimes you click on unknown material, there's silver. Be careful, sometimes is not necessarily sterling silver, but silver plated over stainless steel. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this and 100% power. We're going to do speed of 200. I like to have more so it's not pixelated. With designs that are fine lines, what I like to do is have faster speed. So millimeters per second is higher. In that way it passes quickly because it will be very fine and I would just do more passes. Otherwise, if it is slow, what happens is the burn rate, it spreads. So you're not going to get as much precision. I find that it is much better to start with higher speed and then see the results you get. If you are not getting a whole lot and you want it to be heavier, more digging, then you can slow it down slightly. Because this is a new design, I'm going to play it on the safe side. We're going to do 1,000. Let's try 600. I find that silver, I don't need as fast speed as I do with gold filled. So this is what I'm going to try. And I'm going to do 2 passes. For the sake of filming, I'm not going to close the lid. Oops, I know what. I was thinking, why is it not working? I realize it's not a fiber laser. Here we go. Let's go back to 1.9. I find a lot of things 1.9 works for me for such thin pendants. So we are going to run it. So that is interesting because this has a blue light laser, which is great for cutting wood, leather, etc. But to cut metal, you need the fiber laser. It defaults to blue light laser, and I forgot about that. Okay, so I see the image, it's good. I like it, except that it needs to be deeper. Actually, I'm just gonna duplicate 2 at a time. Process again, okay. I'm going to do it again by double clicking. In that way, it will be deeper and that will wear longer. You hear the sizzle. Excellent. And I'm just going to do 30% power. I'm going to do 1 cleaning at a time. I like that. I'm going to do it again. And that just makes it pop, makes it really bright. I want to make sure that it is deep enough. So I'm gonna run a few times. I think that is the safest thing to do before I touch it. Here's a side tip. Sometimes, because there is a lot of oxidation, you can't tell how deep it is because it's all dark. So what I would do is sometimes do a cleanup at 30% power, just one run, take it away so I can see. And in that case, you can see a bit more clearly whether or not from the side it is deep enough. Here it is. So I like the outline. I want to show you what happens if I do this. Gives it a really nice polish. And now I am ready to add this onto a chain. Now I'm going to turn this into a necklace. I've chosen my daughter's favorite chain, the satellite chain. And really, you don't need to weld this, and this chain comes finished. So now I am ready to turn this pendant into a necklace by attaching it to my daughter's favorite chain, which is a satellite chain. Actually, it's really pretty. I'm gonna leave more information about that. This, I have a 20 gauge jump ring. And when it's this thick, you don't need to weld it, but I'm gonna show you welding it and also the ends. So I'm gonna open this. Normally it doesn't matter if you are getting it centered to the chain, but in this case, because there are little balls there, it's gonna stop the chain from moving around past your jump ring. So I'm gonna close it now using 2 pairs of pliers and make sure that the groove is closed. So to weld, I am using the Orion mPulse TruFire, and I've set it at 7 watts. This is quite thick, and I wanna try it for one go, and I'm going to put it at 8-watt power, and here we go. And that's all that it takes. I'm at my home studio, so I'm not using argon gas, and you should use argon. What I'm gonna show you is you can very quickly buff it, and it removes the oxidation. The other trick is when this happens, when you are welding, what you should do thereafter is you pinch it slightly. And this is 20 gauge, so it's hard. And what happens is naturally the seam is either here or up top and you don't see it. That is a jeweler's trick. So there you go. Now on the other end, all I'm doing is I have some fine jump rings that go through, and I'm going to attach the clasp. This is quite a bit thinner. It's 24 gauge, and I'm going to put it at 6 watts. There we go. And I do the same thing. You can do it for lower power. It's a matter of preference. Normally with argon gas, that would work really well and smooth. It looks a little bit melted, but that's okay. I pinch it, and again, that hides it. Because she is right-handed, I'm going to put the clasp on this side. So I'm going to demonstrate for you a power that is a little bit lower, and you can see what happens. This is at 5 watts. So now I've got this clasped, it's welded on, and I'm going to get her to model it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what other projects you want to see.